Washington has once again aimed harsh criticism at the Syrian regime, warning of a new international measures unless it withdraws security forces from the streets. Let's talk more on this now and cross live to New York to chat to NY-based author and political analyst Ava Gollinger. Many thanks for speaking to us here on RT. Now, the US, as I've been saying, has said that the international community will take additional steps to pressure the Assad regime to stop its crackdown. What kind of steps do you think will follow?
Well, the U.S. government, the Obama administration, has been very clear that they are calling for Bashar al-Assad to resign, to step down, in fact, for there to be regime change in the country. They're not looking for some way to negotiate a solution to the conflict that's going on in the country. They're looking for a way, really, to force al-Assad out of power. But what the U.S. can do is what they've done in the case of other countries. I mean, they can intensify economic sanctions against Syria. They can continue in the campaign to try to garner support for some kind of military aggression towards Syria. But they will continue to do what they have been doing, which is providing arms to those militant groups inside Syria that are engaging in this kind of struggle, this fight against the Syrian government. And I think that that's probably the number one thing the U.S. will continue to do, is to provide funding and arms to groups inside Syria to continue to foment unrest and try to overthrow the Assad regime.
Of course, this is a tense moment. The U.S. Is saying, quote, that credible reports that the Assad regime continues to indiscriminately kill scores of civilians and army defectors. It's also insisting that, quote, the only way to bring about change is for Bashar al-Assad to leave power. But will all of Syria's problems disappear once President Assad has left the scene, or is that just the first step?
Well, I don't personally think it's any step at all, and I think that the U.S. is out of place calling for any other government to step down. You know, the U.S. is acting as though it's some kind of world emperor that orders governments in and then orders them out. I think that the Assad government has been very clear that it wants to resolve the internal conflict. It's been working from day one that these protests began to negotiate a solution, to implement reforms. President Bashar al-Assad has been very clear that there will be reforms in the country, that one of the main problems inhibiting those reforms or impeding them has been the uprise of armed civilian militants who are fighting against government forces, and that's what's caused so many of these casualties that have been taking place, so many of the deaths that have occurred over the past several months. So I think that really the solution is not whether or not Bashar al-Assad should be president of Syria. It's whether or not Syria can be left at peace from outside influence that's egging on the conflict, so that it can resolve internally and in a sovereign way its own problems.
Okay, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. New York-based author and political analyst Ava Gollinger, thank you.